Guys, welcome back to Medical Coding with Blue. Today's episode is all about becoming a medical coder from a non-medical background and how to improve your transferable skills. If you're brand new to my channel, welcome. I am Blue. I'm a medical coder. Okay, guys, so I got this message from this lady and she was asking about this very topic, but I will say this first. I want you all to know that what I say today is meant to help you. I am only trying to help you, not offend. There will be other people that may coddle and may say, oh, you know, and say it real gently, real sweetly, but not prepare you. Because for me, when I think about the issue that this lady's bringing up, this is not an issue. This is not an issue because there are so many free resources out there, okay, in order to fix this issue that she has. So to me, there's really no excuse. We kind of get stuck behind these, I'm this way, I'm a shy person, I'm this, I'm that. And then we give ourselves this label, and this is what we project out into the world, rather than giving ourselves the ability to have the potential to be able to achieve whatever it is that we want to. And keep this also in mind. You are given that spark, that dream, that direction, that notion, that nudge for a reason. And I will always say that for me, medical coding found me. It found me because I had no idea what it was when I first got into it. But I had no background in medical at all. None. I had no desire to be a nurse, no desire to be a CNA, an LVN, none of those things. I had no desire to do any of that. But here I am in the health information field, okay? So whatever it is that you want to achieve, you can achieve it. But you need to get yourself out of your own way. And if you know you have a problem, like the one I'm talking about right now, if you know you have a problem, then you need to figure out a way to get that neutralized or get it fixed, okay? So, and it is possible for anybody at any age. I don't want to hear, well, I'm too old. You're not too old. Oh, well, Blue, I was never taught that in school and I never learned that, and you know, I'm a young adult. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You need to toughen up and you need to get to a point where you say, okay, this is what I want. This is my dream. This is how I'm going to get it. And you need to go after it with full force. Okay? So let me read this message. So the lady says, I was born in the US and left the country when I was 9 years old. I have lived all of my life in Argentina. I am now 50 and living back in New York City with my working for my brother's company. The thing is, my English is not the best. I understand almost everything, but it is more difficult to express myself. I would love to get into the medical coding field. Do you think I have a chance? Well, I believe that anybody has a chance as long as they're willing to apply themselves. But the thing that gets me about this message is, well, my English is not so good. Do I have a chance? Okay, so what are we going to do about this English being a problem? We need to work on our English, right? And with all of the free resources out there, all over YouTube, you can absolutely learn to speak English fluently and with good enunciation where people can immediately understand you. There is zero excuse for, oh, it's my accent is real strong. No, you can work with yourself in order to start pronouncing those words and enunciating when you speak. That's the thing that you need to do. If this is your issue, this is not an issue. You may feel self-conscious about how you sound. Like when I speak Spanish, I feel self-conscious about how I sound because I don't speak it all the time. I don't speak it on a regular basis. I live in a part of Texas where you rarely hear it. But you know, when I want to brush up on my Spanish again, where like I start speaking it and start talking and things like that, having a conversation or conversating with other people, because there's members of my audience that just love the word conversate. What I will do is I will watch a video or watch a DVD, right? But I will put the subtitles in English and I will put how they're speaking, I will put it in Spanish so that I can start to speak those words, and so I can start to kind of like connect the dots again, and so that I can start remembering, because it's like riding a bike. Okay. And at 9 years old, I know the person had a full language set in motion by 9 years old. Okay. So even if you lived in a bilingual household, you still were in school all the way till 9 years old. You have a good foundation of English. There's really no excuse for this. And for people to say, well, this is just how I am, it's my strong accent. Well, then what are you doing to improve that accent? If you know that it is impeding you from communicating effectively with other people around you, whether it is your coworkers or whether it is a provider. Because hear me when I say this. These providers, and this is not to scare you. Again, I can't stand it when people tell me, oh, Blue, you scared me. I can't stand that, because of the simple fact that y'all need to be prepared. When I got into this field, I had no idea the level of conversation I would have with these providers, and the importance of being able to articulate ideas and to be able to express myself. I had no idea how important it was until I got in. And it wasn't until I was 6 years in, almost 7 years in, that I really started communicating with providers. Because before then, yes, of course, you have communications with providers, but it wasn't as intense as it was until I moved into this big, beautiful hospital that they had built for us. I had been here at my forever home a good 6-7 years, right? And then they started building this big, beautiful new hospital. We moved in, and they embedded us in the clinic because we were housed away from our providers. And so we would have a lot of email communication, but that's not the same as being in person. And so now I have a whole new thing to learn. I have to learn to communicate with these providers. And I'm thinking that email is more efficient, and it's fine because I'm a good writer. I think I get right to the point. It's all good. But I found out that I had a provider that did not like email. And so that's the thing that kind of changed everything around for me. But at the same time, it was, okay, now I got to put my own feelings aside of nervousness. Because I was nervous. I was just like, oh my gosh, I got to talk to this provider. And I would tell this provider, because we had a really good professional communication thing going, right? And I would tell him, what is it that I can share with you that you don't already know? I said, you're a surgeon. You know a lot. I'm just a coder. He goes, that's it, Blue. You're the coder. I don't know coding. I need your help. And I was like, that makes sense. That makes sense, because I didn't realize how my knowledge base was so critical to their learning, because what they learn is going to prepare them for the outside world, is going to prepare them for their own practice or for being a member of a bigger practice. What they learn from me is what they're going to carry forward in that next place. And so that kind of gave me another thing. Okay, like that's another one of my reasons why. If this person truly wants to learn English and be able to speak things well, then she will practice. And if this is your problem as well, where you have a thick accent and you know that you could benefit from learning and speaking better so that way people can understand you, then you need to do it. It's not just because, oh, well, that's just how I am. No. You need to give people the benefit of the doubt that, okay, that they would be willing to listen to you more if they could understand you. But again, sometimes people get really offended because, well, that's just my accent. No, you can make yourself more clearly expressed by working on that accent. Okay? So that's something that you guys have to understand. That's something that you're going to learn with time. And if it's really important to you, if you really want a chance at this, that's what you're going to do for yourself. That's one of your transferable skills, reading and speaking English fluently, that is going to help you get in the door. Because if you look at the job listings, it will say candidate must be able to speak and write English well. You see that in a lot of job listings. Why? Because they don't want somebody that the provider is going to be able to use the excuse, I can't understand what they're saying. And it's not anybody trying to put you down or hurt your feelings. Certainly not. They want to understand you. but you need to be able to put yourself, okay, well, I know I need to work on my English, so I'm going to do that. I know I don't like to write. If somebody's saying, I know I don't like to write, because I've had people who say, well, Blue, I want to sit for the CCS exam, and I have no idea what they are saying in their little message because it's not written properly. There's no punctuation or anything. The words are all over the place. They're using abbreviations and all this other garbage when they're trying to speak to me. I have no idea what they're trying to say. So if you know that writing is something that you struggle with, there's plenty of videos on YouTube that talk about writing. And writing is a lot of fun. A lot of people say, oh, I don't like to write. I don't like to write. Immediately, because they think back to school time, right? Where in school time, you're just like, okay, you have this assignment and you got to do this. Or maybe they went to college and they had to write all these papers. And yes, while they have the AI generator and things like that, I don't use that. Because to me, that's just garbage. That's not allowing me, Blue, who loves to write, that's not allowing me to think and critically think. Because again, that writing skill that you get is going to help you build your vocabulary, just like it is with reading, right? Reading will help you build your vocabulary. Writing will help you to start expressing yourself. Speaking publicly is something that you know that you can do to help you to not be so shy, to not be so nervous when you're talking to these providers. There's literally no excuse. Now, I have been on my own self-journey of improvement when it comes to speaking publicly and being able to, write and write well and write better. A few years ago when I started writing resumes, I wrote really good resumes in the beginning, but now I see the sophistication of my resumes has gotten a lot better. And so that's always because I'm trying to improve myself, okay? And if you watch some of my earlier videos on YouTube, you'll hear me say, and I have tried to improve that. Sometimes I still hear myself do that because I think it's because I'm tired. If I film all day, that happens, but I have identified a problem and I said, okay, what can I do to improve? So I started listening to all of these videos on YouTube about expressing yourself and being able to be an effective speaker and that kind of thing. And that has helped me. So it can certainly help you. And this is something that is a must, because when you see all these hiring managers, one of the number one things that they say is that they want somebody who can express themselves and express themselves well. And of course, they want the talent and the technical skill. So again, if you are already studying for that talent and technical skill, then you just need to start putting in a little bit more time with your English or with your writing or with your public speaking. Excuse me. Some people will say, Blue, I'm so nervous. I can't, I don't speak very well with people. I get really nervous. And I have suggested before that when you see somebody at the grocery store, when you go check out, be the one to initiate from the cashier, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, how are you? And then just carry a simple conversation, make eye contact. These are all things that are going to help you, because when you are in this interview process and these people meet you, they're going to say, this is a person who's well-spoken, who can carry a conversation, who is confident in themselves, so that they're going to be able to stand up to these providers. They're going to be able to work with them. This is what we need. Unlike the person who is really shy and you can't really understand what they're saying and all these things, there's a difference between these two candidates. I want y'all to be the strong candidate. That's why I will tell y'all, if your accent is strong, you need to work on your accent. Because just as you say, well, this is a part of me. I understand that. But at the same time, if you really want to get into this and you want to be successful and you want people to understand you, then that's what you need to do. Because again, no one has time to waste. And they're going to be looking at you for that. Can this person help us be efficient? Do they know enough? Do they know how to do their research? Which brings me to my next transferable skill. Being able to do your research. The other night I had a gentleman that was saying that the domains for the CCS were not on the AHIMA website. I know that's a load of garbage, but the way that he was saying it, first of all, I had to read it a couple times to understand what he was trying to say. And you want to sit for the CCS? The CCS is the gold standard of medical coding credentials. This says you've mastered inpatient coding and outpatient coding. How would I know that this person has mastered when this is how they're communicating? Taking the time to learn to write and write well is going to help you, and not be so reliant on the stupid AI stuff or ChatGPT or any of those things, but really taking the time on your own by yourself to write out these things. And like I keep telling y'all about that TikTok too, you know, those quick little videos, that affects your brain because you're getting that hit of dopamine every single time, right? You got right to the point, right to the point, right to the point. You're not letting your brain build up a beginning, a middle, and an end like it needs to, so that you can start to critically think. And that's the problem right there. This type of thing, you doing this all day, because it's one thing if you do TikTok just a little bit, but for some people, they get this constant hit. They're doing this all day long, and then guess what? Their attention span gets shorter. And if you got a shortened attention span, that means you when you're telling a story, when you're writing, you're not going to be able to fully put together a whole story. You don't know how to put together a beginning, a middle, and an end. And if you research and if you learn to do these things, that again is going to help you a lot better. That's why you don't see me on TikTok. I won't. Because again, I'm not going to contribute to the shortened attention span of people. I will not. I will not. And again, if you are learning to do your research, Google is your friend, and you'll be able to see that person who was asking me about the CCS exam and claimed that they did not see the domains for the test on the website could have easily have typed in, what are the domains for the CCS exam? And you would have seen the PDF come right up immediately. It's all about research. These are transferable skills, excellent English, written and verbal, research. These are things that employers are looking for. This is somebody who can do the work and ask for help when it's needed. But they're going to try. Because the spoon feeding thing, that does not work. Oh, Blue, it's my first job as a medical coder and I don't have any medical background, but you have training, folks. You have training. And the other transferable skill is making sure that coding, you've got it down. Because some people barely pass their certification exams and they think, oh, okay, well, I don't need to study anymore. You absolutely do need to study more, because if you barely passed your exam, that means that you still lack competence. Even though you passed, a pass is a pass is a pass, yes, but it does not necessarily mean that you possess the competence that is needed for the real world. And how do you get there? By continuing to practice. Because again, you're listing on your skills list ICD-10-CM, CPT, HCPCS, ICD-10-PCS. You're putting on there medical terminology, anatomy, pathophysiology, all these good things. So you need to make sure that those are your skills that you're putting in there, that you are practicing like you should. Okay? So that's just something that you all need to work towards. And believing in yourself. I mean, the fact that there's still people at any age really saying, well, do I have a chance? You have every chance in the world to do whatever it is that you want to do. You can be inspired by going on Instagram at any time. And you can see all these people that are getting into their dream career fields later in life. There's a doctor that I follow that she got into medical school in her 40s. And so now she's a doctor, she's in her 50s. She's just barely out of residency. So that's something that she wanted to do that, and she's doing it. So nothing stopped her, even though people told her she was crazy because she's an older lady, but that's not going to stop her. She still has all these years to work. She wants to be a doctor, and that's exactly what she's going to do. And she's not going to let anybody else's judgment stop her. It's just like your own judgment of yourself that it stops a lot of people. Once you get yourself out of your own way, then you will start to see things change for you in a positive way. But the only one who can do that for you is you. And again, having the excuse of, oh, well, my English is not so good. Well, then work on it. Well, Blue, I'm not really strong with coding. I get confused with E&M. Then work on it. Blue, I don't like to write, and I'm worried if I have to write these messages to these providers. Then practice with your writing. In school they taught us to do these writing exercises. We had I don't know, what was it, 20 minutes or something like that, to write on a sheet of paper 3 paragraphs, and you had to come up with a beginning, a middle, and an end. And so it was just about anything that you had on your mind at that moment, but you had to describe it in a beginning, a middle, and an end. And once you get onto practicing like that, that's the thing that's going to help you. Journaling was a big thing when I was a kid. You actually got journals, like actual books, and that you could write in. You could write, in your journals, whenever you felt like it, or you had this secret that you wanted to share with no one, but you needed to get it out. You wrote it in a journal. And people have gotten away from journaling. I'm sure there's still people who do journaling, but now everything is about videos and TikTok and things like that. Well, again, there's no constructive thought in that. It's just about the visual, right? It's just about getting in front of the camera and doing these silly TikTok dances. That's what that's about. It's not actually about sitting down with a paper and actually thinking about something and then writing it. And that, again, is going to help you to exercise your brain and to be able to make you more confident. The reason that I am confident is because I study, obviously, but also because I like to write. I like to write, and I'm always constantly perfecting that skill. That's what gives me confidence, okay, I know this, I got this. And I like to read, and that's what you have to do. So we need to quit making excuses, whatever the excuse is, and we need to attack that problem that we feel like we have. Again, this person is saying that their English is not so good. Then you need to be watching English shows, and if you want to put the subtitles in whatever your native language is so you understand what they're saying, repeat the words the way that they're saying it, so that way you can practice, right? That way you can practice. A fun fact about me is I can imitate voices, right? I can imitate voices all day long. And I've actually called people on the phone, and as a joke, I'd be like, oh, it's so and so, and they're like, oh my gosh, hey, how you doing? And then I was like, no, it's me, Blue. And they're like, Blue, I thought you were such and such, But or sometimes I'll be right there with a person and I'll do my impression of them, and they're like, oh my God, you sound just like me, That's one of the things that I can do because I listen. And when you listen to detail and you can repeat back and you can sound just like the person, you're doing the same exact thing when you're working on your English, so that you can get really good at articulating whatever you hear. And whether it is singing or whether it is watching a video or whatever the case may be, practice on your English. There's no excuse. Absolutely none. None at all. Okay. So with that said, I want you guys to know that when you want to pick this field, it's not just about being a good coder. It is about being a good communicator, being a good educator. But these things, of course, take time. And being able to recognize that and work on these issues with time, that's going to help you to be able to enjoy the field. If I had not worked on my public speaking, I would not have spoken at last year's conference for AHIMA in Salt Lake City. I would not have done the virtual sessions where I've spoken for AHIMA. I spoke for the Rio Grande Valley back in January, their association. I've done AAPC events before, but I will not do AAPC events anymore. But for the most part, when I think about public speaking now, it's like second nature to me. But when you first think about it, you get nervous, right? But I knew that was something that I wanted to work on because I have all of this knowledge that I want to share with people, and I know it's going to help them. So if I know that I have a gift that's going to help them, for me to keep that gift to myself is selfish, it's greedy. And it's not what we're here for, right? As humans, we are here to share our gifts. This is my gift. This is what I do. I love to do this. I love to teach. I love to educate. I love to inspire and motivate people because I see it all over. I got a message today from one of my clients who was talking about the fact that they got a job, and then somebody else said, oh yeah, Blue helped me to get a job too. That's a freaking awesome feeling because again, that's what I do, and I give it in a straightforward, blunt way, and it works. So like I said, practice, continue to practice on your coding so that you can get more confident. Find a workbook that will help you with evaluation and management. Listen to videos in English and repeat the words. Listen to music in English and repeat the words. It's the same thing if you want to learn Spanish. You can, listen to Tejano songs, which are really awesome, and it'll help you to boost your knowledge of the language. Okay, so with that said, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this one up. But yes, guys, whatever it is that you want to do, you can absolutely do it. Quit hiding behind, oh, I can't, or I'm labeling myself this way. Stop it. Stop labeling yourself a certain way. Give yourself the opportunity to be able to achieve whatever it is that you want to. Okay, I'm just saying. With that said, I'm going to wrap this one up. Thank you guys so much for joining me. If this video helped you, please like, subscribe, and share. And I'll see y'all next time. Bye.